They find a formula and stick to it.
Yeah.
So it's very unstimulating.
Yeah. That's why every video is like top 3 reasons why you should do blank, and you're like.
Let's talk about this because I feel like a lot of people think this is easy and they all want to do it.
Probably really easy.
But the reality of it may be different depending on what you guys have to say. What is it like to start a clothing brand?
Oh wow.
What's it really like? Because everybody goes, oh, I'm gonna start a clothing brand. You hear it every day from different people that they're just gonna do it. But it's probably not as simple.
I think it's one of the hardest things ever. And even the people that I talk to that have done it at a super high level. So I have like 2 mentors right now. They started like a bunch of skate brands back in the day, like Maddox, the Kai, those guys. Wow. And they told me like the problems that you face with production, things that pop up, it never goes away.
It's the surprises?
Yeah, there's always shit, delays, whatever. It's just part of the game. It's just if you like the industry enough. Because you always think like as like a business owner, you're trying to streamline things. Okay, cool, I can like mitigate this and I can forecast more if I have a little more cash flow. Like money solves all problems, and you're trying to think big and smooth it out. But it never really goes away because some shit will always happen. But if you love it and that's part of it, then you'll continue to keep growing.
Yeah, I think it's also about like, I mean, it's a game that could be so many different things depending on like what you want from the end product, right?
Yeah.
It's like I think having a vision of like really what you want to accomplish is like a really important thing. Like
the most important, I would say.
Right, because you can make super dope clothes that are super unique and like they come from a place of like passion, like I want to do something different about it, and you can sell them to a certain degree, but not make that much profit. But you've sold enough to keep the business going, and people are happy, and you're changing the game a little bit. Or you can dilute your product a little bit more, widen out the audience, right? Make a little bit more money, but you're doing less of, you're changing the game. Or you're doing less of changing the game. Maybe that doesn't pay off as much for you and your soul. You know what I mean? So I think for us, for Mike and I with Shell Corp, it's been a lot of like trying to do both as much as we can. Like we both have these fashion inclinations and things we love about fashion. And we want to kind of see this, and now we want to make clothes that we want to wear. We want to make, everything down to like the way pants fit, the way a shirt fits, how it looks in the summer versus the winter, this and that. But then the financial side of it, it's like you're still running a business. You have to make these sales. You have to make a lot of these sales, right? So it's like, even if you love this shirt, you can only sell it in certain colors because only certain colors might sell. If you think the best one is this color, but that people don't really like that color as much. So it's really finding that balance between like what you want to create as an end product and also being a business person. It's like, how do we keep this business scaling? How do we keep it growing? Yeah. And like we're constantly walking that line. Obviously you want to do both as much as you can. So I think that's been a big learning curve for us is like what to sacrifice and when to keep the business growing, but also staying true to ourselves.
I think most people go into it with the more like art mindset and creative mindset. Like, cool, I want to like do these things. Yeah. But then it really is almost a spectrum of like, do you want to make art or do you want to have a business? And then it's literally almost like a sliding scale, because it's like
very opposite things.
Yeah, like if you're trying to do like bespoke stuff, one-off stuff, it's not very profitable. But if you can go this way and you're making like a Fruit of the Loom undershirt, it's extremely profitable, but it probably kills your soul like creatively, right? So it's kind of like finding where it's at. Yeah. And then one of my other mentors, he started Hurley, and he ended up selling Hurley.
Started Hurley? Yeah, Jesus Christ.
One of the guys that started Hurley, there's 2 guys that started. He sold it to Nike, and then he helped run Nike SB for 12 years. Wow. So he knows a lot. And then he was like pretty much breaking down like how clothing business works. And he goes like, what I've seen across businesses from tattoo shops to clothing to food and everything, like it's usually there's this one thing that makes up 60 to 70% of your sales.
Like a staple shirt.
Staple thing, yeah. Like even if you go to a tattoo shop, it's like all the flash art, and then there's probably the one guy that wants a crazy custom thing. But you got to do a ton of flash art all day long, Oh, let me get the fucking heart, whatever.
Take 2 birds, once, yeah.
And so he's like, what do you? I was like, but what about Nike? When you're young, you're like trying to like understand the situation. I'm like, but Nike comes out all kinds of crazy shit, fucking Vapor Max, Maximum Air with the fucking Ethereum.
He's got no shoes.
Wow.
He's got those Nikes.
Yeah, what the fuck is this fly knit? Fucking what's all this crazy shit?
I didn't know you were such a hype beast.
And then he was like,
Sneakerhead.
and he was like, what do you think is Nike's #1 seller? I was like, Jordans, duh. And he, and he goes, no, dude, white Air Force Ones.
Wow.
And I was like, and he goes, do
Really?
you think those kill their shoe designer's soul? I was like, fuck yeah. He goes, it does. But he goes, but because of this, and they push this, it gives them the like $1 billion annual budget to do the R&D for the fucking crazy other shit they want to like play around with, you know? He's like, so you have to earn your right to experiment and earn your right to be creative. And I was like,
That's so
like,
true.
So like my only experience is like fan merch and also dabbling into like the small niche brands that we started.
Well, now Junbi has merch.
We have merch, but I think most of my concepts have been merch, like not so much, or like fan merch, or like even if when we created Go for Broke, I feel like it was still an extension of fan merch. It wasn't a product that we created without a fan base, and I mean it had its own like, I guess, brand and life that exists beyond JK.
Right.
But then I would think like the people that are asking this question, or the people that are getting into fashion, right? They probably want to be like Kith, or they probably want to be like Supreme, or like a streetwear brand, or maybe even a designer brand where they are a successful artist, where it appears to be a successful artist, right? Because we all know like luxury brands, it's all LVMH or whatever. Like it's the Bernal guy, right? Like in his family that runs all of those brands. But then when those brands come up and before they're bought by them, there's history or stories like a family leatherworking group, or like over the years, you know, they develop it like the shoe guys, like the Aldo and then the fucking, you know, Louboutins or whatever, right? It's like one guy, one artist, somehow a Hollywood celebrity gets a hold of it and it goes like super crazy, and then like it seems like that's the dream. It's kind of like I want to be a director like Tarantino, someone who is the artist but also gets to stay who they are and sell. But then I'm like, do they really stay who they are, or they're just good at like being at the forefront, innovating, and also be a business person like Tesla? So I'm like, that's kind of like where I'm like, in the beginning we might be very naive and think that you're just a true innovator and you have no business sense, but you just crush it because you're so original. But I'm like, I'm not sure if that's the case. That might just be something that you imagine.
That's why I think it's like what Christian was saying is so important. Like finding out what your goal is. Is your goal to make really cool stuff, or is your goal to grow a business, or is your goal to like solve a problem? And in that way you can manage your expectations. Because I think most people, at least a lot of people that I talk to, their goal is they just want to be in the industry because it seems so fun. So whether it's making clothes for surf, or making clothes for powerlifting, or making clothes for streetwear, they just want to be in this world and do the fun things that they get to do, like throw like little parties and stuff like that. But then their idols are guys that are crushing it and making a shit ton of money. But that's like the business route. So you probably need to get way better at business than you are at design or like, material.
Right.
Yeah. But if you get hyper focused on just the business, then you can lose some of the creativity side of it. And then like it'll always be like the grass is greener, where you see somebody else taking a chance and you're like, oh fuck, I want to do that. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of like building a character like in a video game. Like you only have you have like 10 stat points to allocate,
for
right?
the parameters.
For like how high you jump and how fast you go and your strength, and you get to choose where you want to give it. And it's like you try to pick the best stats to kind of get you through the game, and then when you get opportunities to add more stats on, then you kind of add those attributes there. But like be okay knowing that you only get so many at the beginning, and you're gonna keep growing as this game goes along. And don't try to just like load up one side because you're gonna die at, you know, at the first boss. So it's like it's kind of like that. I think it's a lot of patience to like, you know, grow the business, then switch back. All right, like let's get creative. All right, we broke even there. All right, let's grow the business. All right, get creative. And I think as those things continue to grow, and like, but we're also still trying to find our staple. We think we know what it is, but we're still trying to make more staples that can keep the business going forever. And like, all right, cool, we can just be creative now while people just buy this T-shirt forever. That's what Supreme fucking did. Supreme wasn't being crazy creative ever.
It's just a red box.
Yeah. They also just took things that were already kind of hot and put their name on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like they
I
weren't
feel
doing anything, like new.
They were just trolls that got accidentally successful. Well, not accidentally, but you know, the intention was like, oh, let's like parody and make fun of these things, and then they're like now becoming what they were parodying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's how counterculture kind of works.
Right.
It's like it becomes the mainstream, right? And then something else comes, and
funny.
then something else comes on eventually,
Yeah.
and takes the piss out of that, and it's like, no, fuck this, and then that becomes a thing until it, you know. Kind of
So in the slider scale of like traits that Shell Corp had when it started, what were some of the things that you spent those points on when you started earning? Like, where did you focus?
media,
Media,
huge on media.
visibility, and stuff.
Pardon me?
Like having visibility for the brand.
No, investing a lot of time and energy into the media. Like for sure, also the designs. The designs were super. Like the original designs that Mike mocked up were great, and then even like when we started going to our next stuff that we were both very much collaborating on, like we were always, I think, pushing the envelope a little bit.
Yeah.
Like these pants I'm wearing, like these are like a combination of like two different kinds of pants. Like they're, you know, they're sleek, but they're kind of upscale, but they're also could be kind of street. You know what I mean?
To catch you guys up to speed, like Shell Corp, from my perspective, looks almost like a modern, slightly edgy gentleman's wear.
Yeah, it's like upscale streetwear.
Because you guys have like cut and sew trench coats and like button ups with like thin material. Yeah, it looks dope.
Thank you, man. I
Did
appreciate
you
it.
go the media route because that was already one of your strengths?
100%. We were like, all right, we have these dope clothes. All right, well, what are we good at? Like, I think always lean into whatever you're good at, and like fucking like super serve your niche at all times. All right, me and Mike, we're not coming from a fashion world. We're not coming from a business world, but we know fucking media. All right, let's fucking play that tune as hard as we can, bring people in, and once they're watching, oh, look, these clothes are super sick. So we made a bunch of media that incorporated things that we like, you know, action and like heroes, but also a lot of comedy and like a lot of like satire, and we just fucking invested in that a lot. And then, you know, promoting, like we always want to do that always, and then people came and they stayed. Like now, like when we do a big drop, we always do a big round of media, like around center around it, and it's always a big deal that helps push everything, and people look forward to it now. So,
How do you work out the kinks with like production and like finding out how to source like what the fabric is, who's making it?
We have a partner, we have a production partner who helps us like with our fulfillment. But like a lot of times, Mike and I will find clothes that we like from wherever over the years. Might be in our closet, we might be shopping and see something we like. We go to a flea market, pick stuff we like, and we'll bring stuff like, all right, we like the way the sleeve drops here. We don't like this material. We want something lighter. Or and so we'll just like try to explain it the best we can to the guys who help us out, and then they source it. We get samples. We say, okay, cool. We need this to be a different color, a bit lighter. We're just trying our best to communicate what we want until we get the product that we like in hand. Yeah.
There's a guy that's pretty cool in the OC. Shout out to the Crystal Leverage, but he owns like a design house.
Oh, Crystal Leverage? Yeah.
So what's cool is like he's someone I would say from at least my level, he looks like he's made it where he's been able to do what he's been doing for like over 20 years. So that's a lot of stability. He runs a lot of brands out of his design house.
Yeah.
And you can just tell someone when they really enjoy the industry, because every country he goes and buys denim from that country. And then so he'll have a room full of just all random denim. So it's almost like a denim museum. So it's like different era, different continent, different country, washed from different water. And you can just tell, so like he's like a denim expert. And you're just like, oh shit, that's really cool to see. Like a lot of times people think like people, they want work and then like not work, like work-life balance. But the people that get really good at stuff, it's a 24-hour thing. It's just part of it.
It's them. Yeah, I feel the same about clothing too. Like I was telling you, like I walk into a place and they're selling clothes. I think it's a different thing. I might not think this is a great idea or it might look good on me, but I think it has something that I might want to take from one day. I will buy the thing. I might not wear it, but I'll keep it in my closet. And one day I will be like, oh, you know what had that fucking shirt from a while ago. And I'll pull it out and be like, oh, this is what we need to do. And I can tell when something's like got something enough that I'll stock it. I have shit in my closet now that I bought like at like a thrift store in Japan in like 2017 that like I don't know when I'm gonna call upon it, but one day I will. It has something about it that I know, and I still do that with me and Mike. Like every time we sit down like another year, like, all right, what do we want to make this year? I'm like, you know what, I think it's gonna be hot, and I'll go get some shit I bought 5 years ago. I'm like, I think this wasn't ever hot back then. I think this could be cool if we did this thing. So it's like I definitely love it enough to always be on the lookout for like, you know, just pieces that inspire me. Like same with like comedy though. Same with like writing and just making things. It's like it's a party. You always want to make shit, right? So just stay open to it.
What's your favorite barbell product that you guys created that's like, this was an aha product? Like
aha in terms of, for me as like a
Like it knocked it out of, it performed great, knocked it out of the park.
That's the funny part. Nothing that I like crushed, and all of the stuff that I'm like, man, that's whatever. Crushes. Because I think because I think I'm actually way more artist than businessman. So if it vibes with me, it probably goes over people's heads. You know what I mean? Like a pop musician, like the stuff that like let's say Ed Sheeran listens to is probably fucking crazy.
Right.
The stuff that he makes, everyone's like, oh, I like it. You know, I could like, I just clap on the twos and the fours, right? But he's listening to probably, I don't know, some fucking Irish fucking folk music or some crazy shit. So like,
yeah, fuck that shit.
so for me, like some of my favorite things is one was our dry duffel. Did I give you one?
Yeah.
So our dry duffel, it's a like military grade mesh, and I was extremely inspired because when I got scuba certified, a mesh bag is standard in like that world.
Okay.
Right? Because you put your wetsuit, your fins, all that stuff in there, and then so you literally put it on, and then half the day on the boat, everything is dry. And I was like, this should be in the gym world because we got knee sleeves, we got boxing gloves, we got hand wraps, and that shit stinks. So when I came back from that trip, I was really inspired by that. So I created our dry duffel where the whole top of it is like military grade mesh. So it's
breathable.
It's breathable, and then that way none of your gear ever stinks or smells or whatever. And I was like really proud of that. I was like, that's cool. I took something from one world, brought it into this world. When we sold it, it did all right. And then we do like another backpack that just looks like
a JanSport or something.
Any other fucking regular streetwear style backpack.
The one with the laptop?
Yeah, like that one.
I like that one.
And boom! Fucking sells out in like 30 minutes.
I wanted one.
I'm like,
I did want one.
It has everything everyone else has. Laptop sleeve, iPad sleeve. It's like something that's like if someone goes, hey, what should a backpack have? And I just go, these 5 things. It was like that.
Just so standard, huh?
Boom!
Can I say something?
Versus the dry duffel where I'm like, this is next level. Yeah, go ahead.
As a consumer of simple things, sometimes I just want something simple.
That's the thing. It kills the art. It kills the artist.
I know, but for me, like I like that. Like I like it that it's simple, and then it has the barbell logo. You know what I mean? That's all I need.
Okay.
Because I'm like, you know what? You want me to play a song in like F minor, and then you're like, no. Play Happy Birthday. Happy
Happy birthday.
Yeah. You're like,
everyone loves this.
Do you have a product that's like a favorite product of yours that was like not a seller in the public market?
For sure, but I was actually gonna relate to viral videos where it's like almost every single time that like Jimmy and I have had a video go viral, even myself, like my personal stuff, like it wasn't something I thought was gonna go ever. Really? The beat drop video for one. That was a video we dropped as a fucking plan B. Like we did that video like on the back end of another video we were shooting. We shot it, it's a good idea, boom, we make it. And then we had like dropped several videos before that. It was just kind of sitting in the like whatever the queue of if we needed it one day. We were in Cabo for spring break and we were trying to upload a video from Cabo and it was like a regular 4-minute sketch, but it wouldn't upload. It kept dying halfway through because whatever the Wi-Fi was bad. We didn't want to like break the consistency of dropping, so we dropped make a beat drop video because it was like I said 20 seconds or whatever it was. YouTube could handle that. It uploads, we don't even look at it. Close the laptop, all right, we go back to Cabo partying. And while we're out in Cabo, everyone's like, dude, the new video is crushing. We're like, what? Like, couldn't even think about it. Wake up the next morning, like 2 million views. Like, what? That's crazy. And that happened several times.
Because it was just supposed to be like a placeholder, like whatever.
And the ones we put a lot of effort into and like money and budgets, like did okay. Every now and then it hit, but like a lot of times.
I noticed that pattern happening a lot when you're creating stuff, but then don't you think like once you kind of go like, all right, if this is the stuff that works, let me get into the mindset of just creating really basic shit and just spamming that. Like, do you?
But that's how the internet turns into what it is today.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. That's what it is now because people go, oh, I don't have to try that hard to go viral. All right, I'm just gonna do that. And
get in a rut.
And so that's why creators, I think, are actually not creators. They're actually business people now. There's a lot of Air Force One makers, and not so much like Flynet makers.
Because they know that's what works.
They find a formula and stick to it.
Yeah.
So it's very unstimulating.
That's why every video is like top 3 reasons why you should do blank, and you're like,
A lot of videos I'll see today are like, this is how you get big on TikTok. It's like, what the fuck? You're on TikTok talking about how to get big on TikTok? Like, that's your whole.
And then that video goes viral.
And I'm learning from someone that has less followers than me on Instagram.
Damn. Shade.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, 5 successful ways on Instagram? All right, let me see this. 10,000 followers. I mean, you seem like you're doing something right, so let me write these notes.
Yeah, man, less followers, more views sometimes too.
as long as that pops.
But yeah, guys, check out obviously Barbell Brigade, Shell Corp, and Junbi's got new hats.
Yeah.
We got corduroy hats, baby. Corduroy hats.
Yes.